What is a clear sign of you getting older? When the checkout girl at the local drug mart gave me a discount and I asked why the discount and she said seniors discount. I was maybe 57 at the time. I didn't know whether to be outraged or happy about getting a few bucks off. 40 is a weird age. Everyone older says you're so young. Everyone younger thinks you're so old. When I watched professional sports and all the players looked like children. Baseball, football, tennis etc. When they tear down a building that you remember getting built. Haven't gone to a wedding in a very long time. Have gone to a few funerals, though. Sad face. When you've seen multiple decades of fashion trends come back into play with the young crowd. You are more aware of others wasting their time. I used to sneak out of home to go to parties. Now I sneak out of parties to go home. 58M. Where do I start? 30s, didn't brush off that wipeout on my bike like I did in my 20s. 40s, had to stop eating like I was 20. Visits to my family physician became much more frequent. 50s, takes much longer to get out of bed. Back and joints ache continually. As I approach my 60s, my friend and family pool is getting smaller as they start to pass on. Spend more time reminiscing about the past than looking to the future. Life goes by quick. Don't waste it. Hair growing in places where hair shouldn't be. Making noises when sitting up and down. People in positions of power being younger than you. I don't care about how I look without makeup anymore. I sneezed the other week and threw my back out. I used to use the pull-up bar to make my arms big. I now use the pull-up bar to decompress my spine. Valuing your sleep and at least trying to follow a decent sleep schedule. Ooh, I like their cabinetry, while watching an exciting action movie. 10 years ago feels like 2 years ago. Having no idea what the latest trends are in pop culture, and not caring either. When you stop going back to bed after getting up at night to pee, and just put the coffee on. You start getting wisdom moments. Understanding why things happened and had to. Being more compassionate towards mistakes of others because you're shitty yourself and you know it. Media, songs, movies, games, you grew up with start being referred to as classics. So, here are a few positive signs of aging. Asterisk, you recognize something as a dumb idea before you do it. You handle your own shit. Clean up your own mess, rather than leaving it for someone else to deal with. Your immediate desire or impulse doesn't obscure every other factor when making an important decision. There are more, but you get the idea. You hear all types of pops and clicks in your body. The adults in your life start dying. Man, I'm really sorry to many of you for the losses you've had to deal with. My inbox has been a tough read the last few hours. The feeling of not waking up hungover sounds better to you than a night of partying. I genuinely, not sarcasm, not a meme, have no idea what slang teenagers use these days. I have absolutely zero context or exposure to any cultural influences teenagers even have. Edit. There are a few dozen responses at this point to my post, almost all of which have examples of young person slang. I understand none of it. I really hope some of you jokesters are pranking me by giving me some fake slang to use. That would be hilarious. But honestly, it's kind of fun reading what slang people use these days. I was pretty sure things aren't fire anymore, but maybe that's still used. Exclamation mark. Intolerance for loud noise. The older I get, the less I can stand it. If anyone asked me to do anything after 8 p.m., the chances of me going are slim, and the chances are even slimmer if I've already put on sweatpants. When you are asked your birthday online and you realize how much you have to scroll to get to your birth year. You say to yourself, it's the end of January already. I had a painter over, 19 years old, that kept referring to me as, sir. I found myself just wandering around the aisles of Lowe's, not looking for anything in particular and had a moment of self-clarity. I'm old. That 2 decades ago is no longer the 1990s. Your address book includes many names of people who are either dead or you haven't heard from in years. Note, asterisk as I commented further down this thread, the address book referred to is my grandmother's from when she was alive. It's interesting to flip through the pages and see that most of the entries were crossed out by the time she died. Meaning, all those people are dead too. I don't recognize popular music artists now. You don't dare leave the house without peeing. I saw this somewhere yesterday. You live your 30s just like your 20s until the injury. You often prefer a light dish to fried food because the latter is indeed tastier, but it's not worth the trouble. I don't want to set foot in a nightclub ever again. Every movie I've gone to, pre-pandemic and now, starts before 7 p.m. You have a serious and in-depth conversation with your friends about decent lawn mowers, weed killer, vacuum cleaners. Realizing that the year 2000 was not in fact 5 years ago. You no longer call your knees left and right, but good and bad. Teacher here. We had a cold snap and they cancelled school. I muttered, I remember when I went to school we'd go if it was snow. Then I realized I have become the people who walk 15 miles to school in a blizzard up a hill. I schedule plans with friends earlier and earlier every passing year. There's just something so satisfying about getting dinner and drinks at 6 p and being back at home wearing my comfy fit binging the show du jour by 9 p. Peer pressure is fucking stupid. What are you gonna do? Not let me sit at the cool kids table in the cafeteria of the eternal high school you reside in? Getting excited about nesting things. Home projects. Yard work. Decorating for holidays. New furniture. Also, when you start congratulating your friends when they get pregnant versus the feeling of panic. Roughly 80% of the musical guests on SNL I have never heard of. I get excited when I buy a new kitchen utensil or some other house-related thing. Tom seems to make sense and Jerry is the asshole. Not drinking because you can't risk a hangover, which lasts longer than 1 day. Preferring to stay home than to go out. You start to give fewer shits about others' opinions and actions and do more self-reflecting instead. Little injuries and knocks used to disappear after a day or two. Now they don't disappear at all. You just start collecting reminders that your warranty has run out and you have to start doing preventative maintenance. Kids born in 2010 are turning 12 this year. When you start to notice that your parents were right. Time passes by so incredibly fast. Remember that delicious pizza you ate yesterday? Nope. That was 1.5 months ago. There are many, many mornings where I wake up and my back is absolutely killing me. The older I get, the younger the world seems. As I rapidly approach 50 and think about how quick time has gone by, I start thinking about what happened 50 years before born. Now I'm considering a 100-year span and it all seems so tangible. Then I start thinking about the 100 years before that and suddenly we're just a handful years from the Lewis and Clark expedition. It takes twice as long to look half as good. No matter where I am, I want to go home. After sitting still for a long period of time, standing and walking involves shambling about like a zombie. You're fine after a second of movement, but initially nothing works right. You're reading this thread, nodding along. Always tired, and waking up sore every morning. You notice your favorite band is having a reunion tour and didn't realize they had broken up in the first place. Classic rock includes Nirvana, Soundgarden, Smashing Pumpkins, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and other grunge bands. I caught myself flirting with a college girl's mom. Yup. That guy. When the person cutting my hair said, "You want me to clean up those eyebrows?" I genuinely get excited about going grocery shopping, doing my laundry, cleaning my bathroom, etc. I've learned to enjoy taking some time to run errands or chores because it actually expels a lot of my nervous energy that come with the uncertainties of getting older. You don't understand the purpose of TikTok and take advantage of any opportunity to let others know that. You realize that nothing is so underrated as a fresh bed. Might be too late, but the biggest one for me is realizing and recognizing that my parents are getting older. For my childhood, they were these static, never-changing figures, but now, they're older and I can see that. It's definitely pretty saddening and worrying. I'm 83. When I was 18 I thought I would live forever, now I am afraid that I will. A Walmart worker called me Mom. It hurt, but then I realized I was parked for grocery pickup, in my van, listening to a podcast. It's happened. When your peers start dying of natural causes and not just car accidents and drug overdoses like when you were in your teens and 20s. When I found out a good friend of mine passed away from cancer at 39, I got a nice slap in the face by reality. I went to a very young section of my city yesterday and they just pissed me off. I wasn't jealous of the fun they were having, I was just mad they were there. I can't even explain it. I know I went to the same places a decade ago. I did the same things, but for some reason seeing him just made my 33-year-old bones ache. I joked with my wife later, it's interesting to feel myself become the old man yells at cloud meme. Making healthy choices because the alternative is not worth the trouble. Eat birthday cake? No thanks, sugar makes me feel anxious and shitty for days. It always did, but it took me 33 years to connect the dots. Wild Molly Bender, I dunno if I feel like 3 hours of bliss followed by a week of depression and low energy. More time has passed since that 70s show premiered and now than when the show premiered and when it takes place, 1977. All the illegal things I've been doing are legal now. You start becoming that shield which you never got. You start to notice the cars parked in front of your house. Then wonder why the fuck are they parking in front of your house. Younger women, 20 to 30s, don't look at me the same way. You start getting numerical candles for the decade on your birthday cake instead of individual candles for each year. My hands. I never took pictures of my hands before, obviously, but I can very vividly remember when the skin of my hands wasn't so tight and wrinkled. Not sag and liver spots yet, but my hands look like my mother's hands. It's very strange. Plus they hurt and lock up, like old lady hands are wont to do. When registering for things on site and they ask you to fill your date of birth and you gotta scroll down a shit ton to find the year you were born. Feels bad, man. $10,000 is still a lot of money, but it's also not a lot of money. You turn down the radio to see better. Drinking sucks more and more. My husband and I went out last night and I had 3 beers with dinner. It was a long dinner because we watched the football game, but this morning I hated myself for it. Before I could have a 6-pack alone and be just fine the next day, no problem. But now, I drag ass. When sitting in a chair with your heels up on the seat next to your rear, knees bent, like you've done your whole life, somehow causes debilitating pain for the next 3 months. When you finish high school, then finish college, then get a job, then move out, then get a serious partner. ... And you get hit with the realization there aren't really any more obvious life goals to shoot for. Now it's just the endless grind. You've reached the end game of all the milestones till retirement. Chronic health issues start popping up. You tell your doctor and they either tell you, yep, sorry, that's your life now, or they might prescribe something that can control the symptoms so long as you take it for the rest of your life. I kinda just hate everyone nowadays. I guess that's what happens when one deals with shocking disappointment from people getting screwed over time and time again. That's probably not how it is for everyone. You no longer worry about being imprisoned in a tall tower like Rapunzel. You understand that before you'd have time to dehydrate or die of hunger, you could weave a rope out of nose and ear hair and rappel down to safety. Listening to my 20-year-old sister, I'm 30 by the way, tell me how in love she is with her BF after only 3 months of dating and thinking, God, did I sound like that? I don't want to be that person who shits on her parade, but fuck. She's 20, she has no idea what it means to be in love. I am married, and I'm still learning what it means to be in love. That shit changes every day. I chalk it up to the honeymoon phase, but I'm not looking forward to when it finally calms down and she freaks out because it's not like it was before. It's all just wild. TBH edit, just for clarity. I have never told my sister these feelings. These were my experiences and these are my opinions that in no way should affect her. I distinctly remember being her age with everyone older than me raining on my parade about it, and just digging myself in because I didn't want to admit they were right. I sit, listen, offer support and advice when she asks, and keep my mouth shut with a full warning to her when she started dating that if he did something super shady, we were gonna have a serious talk. Otherwise she's an adult, and needs to meet new opportunities, make mistakes, and learn from them. Truly understanding what MCR meant when they said, teenagers scare the living shit out of me. I saw a kid running around in my front yard the other day. I caught myself wanting to go yell at him. I quickly realized he's just playing, who cares? What am I, some old codger? It's coming fast, much faster than I would like. All of a sudden you can't eat Chinese food, pizza and midnight snacks, hit the gym and maintain a healthy weight. Your body takes more planning and effort to keep in shape. AskReddit becomes a rotating cycle of the same damn questions over and over and over and over. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and liking. Any feedback in the comments would be greatly appreciated so that we can make these videos even better. Thanks for watching Upvote Stories.